Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advise you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
It is really a intersection of both emotions, because when I was 11 or 12 years old, so I watched the news a lot and I became enthralled with the image of Adam Clayton Powell. I was around 11 and I convinced my mother to let me come up to this church to see Adam Clayton Powell. And in those days, people in Brooklyn used to say it's dangerous to go to Harlem. And folk in Harlem say it's dangerous to go to Brooklyn. Now, to 135th Street, and I came, sat right back there, and Adam Clayton Powell walked down this platform. And I remember after the church, in those days, Johnson, the pastor's study was right inside with the plexiglass, and I knocked on the door and I told the secretary I wanted to meet Reverend Powell. She looked down this little 11-year-old boy. She said, "Really?" She said, "Who should I say?" I said, "Reverend Al Sharpton."
Platform means dignity. Means we're gonna walk side by side with you, or through you. We're gonna be with dignity and integrity. We don't want any more than you have, and we're not gonna accept any less than you have. That's my thought.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight.
Friday,
They cut budgets and
Friday the
advertising. But
13th.
one black man
Hope
raised
you're not
Houston and
suspicious.
said, "I don't
Superstitious,
care."
that's the word. Friday the 13th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, channel 126, the Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. For the next 3 hours, it is Exhale Friday. Exhale Friday, whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart, all you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on the message board and send me a message, and I'll read many of them over the air as I can. In fact, I was really looking as I was coming on. Knock P. Henry has sent me a message over the message board that caught my eye. Says, hello, Reverend Al Sharpton. Please, we need a NAN chapter in Ghana. What is the way forward? Can you assist? Y'all pull his name up and let me have field. I've been to Accra. I'd love to have a chapter in Ghana. Y'all get Marsha to pull his name up and let me have them communicate with him. I love it. I love it. I love it. I see he also says, I've been following Nan for 5 years now. He's been following us over in Ghana. All right, that's a good way for me to feel kicking off the show today. I've been to Africa more times than I can count, but we need to put some chapters there and then connect the continent with what's going on in the country, particularly when you have a president that has demonized Africa every chance he could get, calling it S-hole countries. The same kind of resistance to what is right and righteous, the same kind of backlash mentality Trump has here, he has in Africa, he has in Europe. We have a London affiliate. They will all be at National Action Network Convention. Sir Simon Woolley, who I've been going over there since 91. They called and asked me would I come lead a march over there in 1991. Killed a young man over there, and we did, and they started a movement that's still going on 35 years later. They're coming over to be at our convention to be with us, and I'm going back every year or so. I've gone and done, spoke at Brixton, which was the Black Caribbean community there, and did a lecture at Oxford University and at Cambridge. In fact, Sir Woolley now is one of the deans at Hermerton College as part of Cambridge. And interesting, our global uniting is necessary, especially with communication. Now, we're all one planet now, which is how I'm sure he got the message to me and listens to us where he is, because it's all global. They can go online in Africa, they can go online in Asia, and just snatch down whatever it is going here. But we need to make those connections. Well, a lot to talk about today, and I'm going to delve into it. Don Lemon is in court or on moments away to be arraigned on federal felony charges that he disrupted. He was part of the disruption of a church service, which is against federal law. We're going to talk about that. We see that inflation did cool off in January. The U.S. payroll rose by 130,000 jobs, more than they expected. They got more than they expected, but unemployment rate dipped to 4.3%, and that's 1% lower than they thought. But black unemployment is still at 7.2%. So the economy looks a little better. It's about the same for blacks or worse. We're still almost 2-to-1 more unemployed than whites. At the same time, they're fighting to make sure that the deportation of Latinos, Asians, and Africans escalate. And they're trying to do anything to keep the attention off of the Epstein case. Nancy Mace, on unredacted names in the Epstein files, say you would be shocked at who's named in there. No, I wouldn't. I said this morning, I was on Morning Joe this morning, people are conveniently forgetting that Trump and that crowd is what made the Epstein case so much are called celeb. They demanded Democrats release it. They demanded Democrats do this. They said Democrats were protecting their elite and their rich and what they were doing. Now Trump has been in twice. Second time he's been elected. Hasn't touched it with a 10-foot pole. Tell people, well, the American people want to know more than that, want to get past that. An issue he brought up. If the American people wanted to get past it, why did you bring it up? Why did you rally your base on this? I think that it is, among other things, we need to talk about on Exhale Friday. We also see they say there's downloading all of the troops out of Minneapolis. People in Minneapolis say, I'll believe it when I see it. And people are still talking about how Attorney General Bondi behaved at the hearing the other day, day before yesterday. I can't believe that she had an opportunity to just turn around and acknowledge the victims that was in the room, say something, even if it was perfunctory. I'm sorry what happened, we're going to get to the bottom. She refused to even turn and look at them. They watched her back. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. James Mitchell says on our message board, it was a pleasure watching Senator Cory Booker tear into Jeremy Carr, a virulent MAGA, at the hearings yesterday. Now, this guy Carl is the one, I talked about this earlier on Morning Joe, that says that our presence is destroying white culture, and we must protect white culture. If you don't know the difference, look at the difference in music that blacks do and the difference in churches. Well, there is a difference between black and white churches. There's also a difference in the white community and how they have church. If you're Roman Catholic, if you're Episcopalian, if you're Lutheran, if you're Pentecostal. So that don't answer nothing. There are different tribes in Africa. Whites are not monolithic and blacks are not either. But they are treated unfairly, unequally, imbalanced. That is happening in a monolith. Nobody can deny that. The data speaks for itself. Even when you get good news, it's the same news for us. So let's talk about all of that. The government going to a partial shutdown because they cannot get an agreement on the funding of Homeland Security. Democrats said, and I hope they stick to it, they said if they don't alter that budget, put new rules on ice, they will not pass the budget. So far, they're sticking to it. I'll be all over it this weekend. Let's take a break and take your calls and your message board. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back.
The fact of the matter is, Rosa Parks was not only the mother of the modern civil rights movement, she was the mother of this nation. Why would you say that, Sharpton? Because you called George Washington the father of the nation, but when he became father, we wasn't included in the nation. Women were not included in the nation. The first time we had a parent in this nation is when all of us was included, and Rosa Parks did that on December 1st, 1955. I heard somebody say Jim Crow is who she fought, and Jim Crow is still around. But Jim Crow is old. That's not who I'm mindful of today. The problem is Jim Crow has sons. The one we got to battle is James Crow Jr. Esquire. He's a little more educated. He's a little slicker. He's a little more polished. But the results are the same. He doesn't put you in the back of the bus. He just puts referendums on the ballot to end affirmative action when you can't go to school. He doesn't call you erase your name. He just marginalizes your existence. He doesn't tell you that he's set against you. He sets up institutional racism, where you have a nation respond looking for weapons in Iraq that are not there, but can't see a hurricane in Louisiana that is there. James Crow Jr. Esquire. That's who we got to fight. And if we are to win, if we are to really memorialize Rosa Parks, she would tell us to do in the generation of his son what she and Dr. King did to his daddy. They didn't talk a fight, they fought the fight. They didn't show up at funerals, they showed up on the picket line and the march line and the jailhouse. It amazes me that we sit there acting like we don't have work to do. And that many of us in our own community are mocking her memory. They formed a movement when they had none of what we got. You realize that Dr. King and Dr. Abernathy and them formed a boycott after Rosa Parks, where people stayed off the bus for a year, went to rallies every night, and they never had email, never had a cell phone, never could go online. Here you got 2 cell phones in your pocket, emails, computers at the house, and can't even get a block association meeting together. We got so much more that they gave us, and we're doing so much less with it. They went to vote when people were threatening their lives. Medgar Evers was shot dead in his driveway, left 3 children inside that never knew how it was to have a father in their adult years, died to give us the right to vote. Pregnant women marched through the streets of Birmingham. They sicked police dogs on them to give us the right to vote. 4 little girls bombed in a church in Birmingham, Alabama to give us the right to vote. And here you are 40 years later in Detroit, Michigan. No dogs biting you, no bombs going off, no bullets, too lazy and ungrateful. Making mockery of her memory. Making mockery of her memory. Nobody should have to beg you to vote. Nobody should have to beg you to stand up and protect the rights that they died and suffered to give us. You can't take care of one thing on the ballot in Michigan when they had to change the laws of all 50 states. You complaining about one referendum when they did a whole revolution and never fired one shot. And then you turn it around on each other. Why do I want my daughters to visit that stone? Because I want them to know black women are not hoes. You have music companies selling misogynist records to our children. Black womanhood was Rosa Parks sitting in dignity. She wasn't break dancing. She wasn't talking about pimp me out. She made the world respect her people. want to thank Reverend Jackson and Mrs. Jackson and others that taught us a little younger who Rosa was, and we got to pass that on. I want to challenge everybody here today that when we leave here, you ought to make a Rosa resolution. You ought to make one commitment in her name to yourself. That you won't either join some organization or you won't stand for some policy. You ought to make a Rosa resolution. You ought to resolve that you're going to do something that'll make a difference because we're here because she made a difference. Most people come and go, and we never come to say goodbye because their hellos didn't mean anything to us. But we're here because she touched every one of us. And we need to make a Rosa resolution. I said to some of the young rappers the other day, talking to me about, well, you get on us about calling women out their names. I said you need to come and know the story of a dignified woman. They make the excuse, Mayor Kilpatrick said, well, you know, we love Aretha and that generation, but we just kick it like we see it. We just mirrors that reflect what we see. But there's something strange about that. I use a mirror every morning. But I don't get up out the bed, hair all over my head, sleep around my eyes, slobber around my mouth, walk outside talking about I'm going to keep it real. Mirrors are not only to reflect what you see, mirrors are to correct what you see. You need to make a Rosa resolution that we're going to correct what we see. We're going to keep the fight going. And we're going to have James Crow Jr. Esquire know that we are the children of those that change the world. My Rosa resolution is they won't have no rest until we finish the fight. Wherever I see an injustice, I'm going to stand up. If I can't stand up, I'm going to speak out. And if I can't speak out, I'm going to do like a Rosa. I'm going to get me a chair and just sit in the way.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. It's Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, all you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. James Mitchell says on the message board, on this day in 1960, Black college students in Nashville started a sit-in movement against Jim Crow seating arrangements at lunch counters and transportation facilities. You're correct, James. I knew some of them that were involved in the Nashville movement when I was a kid would come to New York and do various workshops. And by that time, I was maybe 13, and they would do Wednesday nights at Bethany Baptist Church for my youth division of Breadbasket, Operation Breadbasket. I was the youth director. One of them was Reverend James Bevel, Bevel, who was one of Dr. King's top aides, but had been one of the leaders in Nashville, along with his wife. At that time, they had married, later separated, Diane Nash. And I knew a lot. I turned a lot at 13 years old about the Nashville movement. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me say this before I go to the phones. I want to really encourage you this weekend. I know a lot of y'all get into Valentine's Day and all that, and I'm not knocking it. If you believe in things, do it, but do it with taste and dignity, and don't let people commercialize your love for somebody. And if you know that somebody has ailments, don't be unmindful. Don't give somebody with sugar diabetes candy for Valentine's Day talking about you love them. And I'll leave that alone. They don't need no candy. Give them some celery or something. Let me say, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, tomorrow and Sunday. Among my guests, and I really went all out this weekend because I know it's President's Weekend. A lot of y'all are getting off, so y'all tune out on 3-day weekends. You can't afford to tune me out this weekend. Among my guests this weekend is I'm going to have on Keith Ellison, the Attorney General from Minnesota, saying whether they have really moved ICE out and what is going to happen with the investigations on the killing of those two people. ICE leave, they can't let it go. Keith is going to be on. I'm going to have on Congressman Eric Schwabwell, who is going to be dealing with the shutdown and has been out front. Schwabwell's really been out front on these issues about immigration and other issues. I'm going to have on Governor Andy Beshear. The Governors Association says all of its members is now invited to the White House to meet with Trump as Trump defended some not invited, namely the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. So I'm going to have Governor Beshear on talk about the Democrats there in whether they're going to deal with this dinner at the White House and how. He's also rumored to be thinking about running for president. And I'm going to have on one day over the weekend Benny Thompson, ranking member of Homeland Security and the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, Teresa Ledger Fernandez. And Benny Thompson was in these hearings this week. It's going to be a whole lot of people. I'm even going to have on Maggie Goodlander, Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander, who's one of the 6 Democrats that they tried to prosecute for saying don't obey illegal orders. And they went into court, tried to prosecute them, and the grand jury refused to vote to indict them. They charged them, saying, let's charge the grand jury. Grand jury wouldn't indict him. She was one of the 6. I'm having her on, Congresswoman Goodlander. All of this tomorrow and Sunday. I'm breaking them up, but I got them both days live. Then you in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me in the morning to the Saturday Action Rally. And as many of you should know by now, we have moved to the Mother AME Zion Church for the month of February. Mother AME Zion Church on 137th Street between Lenox Avenue and 7th Avenue. You that want to put it in your navigator, it's 140-6 West 137th Street, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, it was 0-degree weather last Saturday, and we still had a couple hundred people, so I know weather's a little better now, just about in the 30s. I'm looking for everybody to be out tomorrow. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it on YouTube/NAN, and all of it live 9 to 11, or on nationalactionnetwork.net. And I'm about 400 seats left where I have to close the people that have signed up for the National Action Network Convention, April 8th through the 11th, here in New York at the Sheraton Times Square. We are way over 4,000 now that have already signed up. It's free. Don't charge you nothing for the workshops, plenary sessions, none of that. But you must register so as rooms overflow, you have a seat. We deal with people that have enough respect for the process. I don't know many national conventions that let you come for nothing. No sign-in fee, none of that. No registration fee. But sign up. And we expect you to be there. I've still not released the names. I was testing the public and my staff. Could we organize thousands? Last year we had 10,000 by the time the convention was over. Could we now have thousands that didn't come to see a big politician or an entertainer and just drop that late? So they said, well, test it, Rev Mal. I've tested it, and then we have signed up pre-registered this year than the last 3 years. So I guess people either get more committed or understand that Trump is going to force you to get with organized bodies that's going to do something, not some hashtag that ain't going nowhere. They read it and put it to the side, but in their face, in their chambers, know how to register voters, know how to bring them out. That's what scares them. All right, let's go to the phones. It's Exhale Friday, and I want to hear from you, or you can, of course, go to the message board, and you can, on the message board, leave a message, and I will read as many as I can. Akeem Smith reads, Reverend Sharpton, my question is, if ICE agents are gone from Minnesota, where do they go next? And what about all the damage they did in Minnesota? Akeem, that's exactly a very important question. Where do they go? And I'm going to press the Congress people and senators on this weekend. Where do they go? And is that part of why they won't make the agreement, which is going to make the government shut down in part? And what happens to what they did? The two people they killed, are they now going to share that investigation with the state? That's what I'm going to have on the State Attorney General, Keith Ellison. I mean, what happened next? And so the cameras are gone when the tear gas is gone. What happens next? So, very good question. I hope to have all of them answered to your satisfaction over the weekend on Politics Nation. Let's take a break. When I come back, I'll start on the phones. Exhale Friday, Sharpton. Be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hole in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack Obama.
Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real on Exhale Friday.
Good afternoon, Rev. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you are as well.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm working on getting my cousin Jay Rollins on your show.
Okay.
Okay. Reverend, that display of ignorance and hatred Pam Bundy showed was disgusting. She could not even face the women who were abused. She lashed out as if she was on some kind of substance when she said, I will answer the questions the way I want. That was enough to have her, and she should have been taken out of the hearing, and she has no respect for the office or the people. And I just can't understand it. She's so disgusting. She could not even face the women. So what is wrong with her? I just can't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, for her to leave her back to them and not even try as a human being, less known the chief law enforcement officer in the country, to say, even if she wanted to say, we're doing the best we can, we promise something, some levels of assurance, some empathy, nothing. She refused to even turn around and look at them. I think somebody said, I guess on Morning Joe this morning, somebody said that will be her picture in history. She'll never live that down.
Yeah, and don't take the blame for anything. You have Tom Holman, is that his name?
Yeah.
Who took $50,000 cash in a bag,
right.
And he still holds his position and more. And the abuser and the drug hedge sect had the nerve to try and demote Senator Kelly. He is a senator, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And take his pension away from him. That is just disgusting. It's just so much, it's hard to believe. You think you're living a nightmare, I'm telling you. These people are off the chart.
Yeah.
And Reverend, are you familiar with Thomas H. Watkins Jr.? He was the founder of the New York's first black daily newspaper. I just wanted to give honor to him.
Daily Challenge.
Yes.
I issued a statement when he passed. His father started a paper in Brooklyn, New York called the New York Recorder. And since I was a boy preacher, we used to run and grab it because they'd feature some of us in the church world. They had the popularity contest. And then out of the New York Recorder, Thomas Jr. founded the Daily Challenge, which was the first daily black paper in New York. A real giant,
Yeah,
the whole family. There wouldn't have been a Operation Breadbasket in New York or National Youth Movement, which I started when I left when I was Breadbasket when I was 16, if it wasn't for the Recorder and the Daily Challenge and the Amsterdam News, because black media was dominant then.
I read a great article on him. And finally, why can't the federal judges order Pam Bundy to release the Epstein file? Is that out of their jurisdiction?
That's a good question. I'm going to ask one of the lawyers on the weekend. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, thanks. Thank you for taking my call.
Hold on. Make sure you get her information on the cousin, because I thought I told him to do this. I want to follow up myself. Get her information, get it to me. Let's go to Tyrone in Baltimore, Maryland. Tyrone. Tyrone?
I got him up. He's not saying anything.
I don't hear Tyrone. Let me go to Wale in New York, Manhattan. Wale?
Hi, Reverend Sharpton.
Hi.
Okay, I was looking at this woman's podcast, and she's in her late 50s, going into her 60s, and she's worked all her life. She has very good assets, good savings. She got married, and her husband eventually, he was up there too. I think he was like in his 60s. And she was saying that specifically black women, she was addressing it to black women. She was saying that when you meet a man, especially when you're up there in that age, and you've already saved up a nice, whatever they call it, and all this kind of thing here, and you retired and everything. She said, don't get a black man. She said, find out what type of medical things that he has going on. Does he have diabetes, hypertension, and stuff like that? Find out what kind of sicknesses he got. She said because her husband ended up having diabetes, and he lost one limb, and it was one limb after the other, and he ended up just being a torso. So now she's spending all of her money taking care of this man. Now, I know that the vows say for better or worse. We got that part. But she was trying to warn the sisters, I know you're lonely and, you want someone, et cetera, and maybe you don't want to date under, some young dude or whatever. You want someone in your age bracket, but you need to find out their health history because too many black women, she stressed this. She said she did her homework, and she said so many black women of age that have acquired nice assets and plenty of cash, now they marrying men that are sickly, and they didn't know it.
Wow.
They ended up spending all their money taking care of these men. And she said that, please, do your homework and stuff like that. And I thought that was just reading it, and I said, that's so sad, that so many men in that age group, I could say my age group because I'm in there, that, and that's why I admire you, how you take care of yourself. We have to, and it's attractive. When we take care of ourselves, it's also attractive. It will attract love and stuff like that. I look at white people in my neighborhood, which they're safer in my neighborhood than I am, but that's another story. But you see them jogging and whatnot, and I say, I know they don't stress the way we stress. They don't have the stresses that we have, etc. But we do have to take better care. And I thought that story was so important because so many black men, you see it, they sick, they get impotent by 50 days, they impotent, and it's just sad. And thankfully we have your vineyard that we can talk about these things because we don't, as black people, we don't talk enough about our issues. We act as if, because you've even said it. You said, don't look for the leader. You're the leader. Don't go outside always looking for leaders and this one leading us and all this kind of. No, you're the leader that you're looking for. And so I just wanted to share that do your homework, women, and vice versa. It can work both ways. Men as well. Do your homework. Find out. How well is this woman? Because you don't want to be, I hate to say stuck, but you don't want to be stuck with somebody that can't please you and all those kind of things here. And a lot of men our age want women around their age. A lot of them are turning, they don't want them because they figure we ain't juicy enough or whatever, excuse the expression, and they're getting these young chicks. But some women, they haven't even found out certain things about their body till they turn 40. Like, I didn't know those two go together and stuff like that. Till they was in their 40s. So don't rule out age and, she's too old and all that kind of thing, or he's too old. But just take care of yourself so you don't just be taking care of a torso. You'll have a whole person. You'll have a whole person. And I think that's all I wanted to say. But I do want to say one more thing, if possible. If not, you can tell me and I'll hang up. Are you there? Did you fall asleep? You there, Sharpton? Hello? Michelle Montgomery, let us not forget her body parts turned up in a NYCHA building.
That's right.
I wonder what's her organs in that bag. I wonder what's her organs in that bag. Because it could have been one of them things, Sharpton.
Yeah.
Somebody could have killed her to steal her organs. That could have been it too. But since nobody's talking about it, not the media, not the mayor, not even her family, no one's discussing it. So that's very suspicious. But in any event, have a good day.
All right, you as well. 1-877-532-5797, Exhale Friday. And let me encourage you, as I agree with was just stated, that we have got to be involved in whatever organization, church, whatever you're comfortable with. They are literally trying to roll back time on us, literally. We can't let that happen. And we shall not let it happen, not as long as some of us are out here. Let me go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia, WURD. Disco Brian.
Hey, Rev.
Hey.
I want to discuss the Texas Senate primary today, but I have one question for you before I get too much deeper into that. And please forgive me if this question insults you, Rev, but from what you know of multimillionaire podcaster Joe Rogan and his friend, billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, Rev, would you say that either of those men are in any way champions of democracy or democratic values?
I think, all right, when you say are either of them in position, define that a little clearer for me.
I'm asking you, Rev, do you think Joe Rogan or Elon Musk are champions of democratic values? Are they on our team?
No, not from what I know, no. I mean, I've never listened to their show, but from what I've read about what they've seen in the clips I've seen in TV, even you saw in my show, he certainly doesn't support democracy like we do, no.
Thank you, Rev. I wish I could meet with Ken Martin at the DNC and the Congressional Progressive Caucus and the Black Caucus and the Women's Caucus to have all of them study what happened during James Tallarico's interview when he went on Joe Rogan last summer, Rev. Because if Democrats
Tallarico, for you that don't know around the country, is the Democrat who's in the state legislature in Texas that's running against Jasmine Crockett in the primary to be the candidate for U.S. Senate. Go ahead.
Correct, Rev. Jasmine Crockett, who, by the way, I mean, if you didn't see her with the survivors standing behind her, forcing Pam Bondi to look up at the survivors of Epstein's criminal madness. Jasmine Crockett, if her taking it to Pam Bondi doesn't convince every single Texan who supports democracy to make sure they donate and vote for her March 3rd in that primary, I don't know what will.
Hold on 1 minute. I'll hold you over the break, let you finish. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Exhale Friday. Be right back.
We have a short visit, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It was one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Shelton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
Yeah. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road from me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about it in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helping pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But no.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they gotta open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now, as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president, but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting, because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
It's XL Friday, and now America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Hello, friend.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. I think we had Disco Brian on. Before I go back to the phones, let me get to, what is this, GRY phone, Gryphone 999. Interesting what he posted on our message board. He says, with all the Rev's friends in elite circles, I'm waiting for his name in the files. I guess he's talking about the Epstein file. Well, don't hold your breath, because I never, ever remember even meeting, less known, hanging out with someone named Epstein or been to their island. And believe me, if they thought I did, you'd heard that name first. And secondly, if anybody I know name pop up, I'll be the first one on television saying they ought to have to be forced to answer the questions. They ought to be forced to go in court. If anyone I know comes up, oh, I did know one. His name was Donald Trump. And I'm sure if Donald Trump had any idea, as much as he tweets on me, including yesterday, that I knew something about Epstein, he would have gladly put that out there. So you ain't got to worry about me. Now, I've had a lot of friends, elite, and I've had a lot of friends on the ground. Nobody I ever fought for was part of elite. But yes, I knew and know a lot of the elite. I fight for our folks
elite and street. That's what I do. I don't apologize for that. But I don't be playing around with no foolishness. That you can rest assured. And all the people I deal with are grown. So you got some more smart stuff. See, I'm one guy that don't mind taking the questions and the criticism because I ain't got nothing to hide. That's why I'm on the air every day. So roll over, go back to sleep. Enjoy Valentine's Day. Let me go back to Disco Brian. Disco Brian, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Rev. Yeah, that is kind of where I'm going is kind of adjacent to that because I was telling you about the manosphere, the gentleman running in Texas in the Texas race against Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico, and he went on to the Joe Rogan podcast. Mm-hmm. And he went on to that podcast last summer. And what I wish I could signal to everyone at the DNC, the Congressional Black Caucus, Progressive Caucus, Women's Caucus, is Democrats need to learn what not to do from James Tallarico's interview with Joe Rogan. See, Rev, before we consider what Tallarico told Joe Rogan last summer, we got to consider everything Rogan promoted and platformed prior to that interview. I shouldn't have to tell you or your audience, Rev, or any pro-democracy politician or influencer for that matter, that Joe Rogan is not a friend of democracy. On November 4th, 2024, day before the election, Rogan interviewed his friend Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who, by the way, is in the Epstein files, asking, what's the night of the wildest party? Okay? Elon Musk has been a guest 7 times on Rogan's show. Reverend Sharpton, that is 7 3-hour interviews that Rogan has conducted with Elon Musk since 2018. On the interview on November 4th, Elon Musk said to Rogan, quote, the Kamala puppet regime, he called it, would be targeting Joe Rogan's show. And Rogan agreed. And the two men laughed about how Elon Musk would also be a target of a Harris-Walz administration. And Musk agreed that he, Elon, would be number 2 after Trump. This all happened on November 4th on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Okay.
Then, Rev, couple months later, on February 28th, Musk was once again Rogan's guest, and they laughed about Musk's infamous Hitler salutes behind the presidential podium at Trump's inaugural. And of course, both men keel over in laughter about how absurd and insane those of us who saw what we saw and denounced those gestures as being what they were, which were Sieg Heil Nazi salutes. Then they go on for 3 hours doing the usual stuff, trashing the Democratic Party, celebrating what they call free speech, which of course, Rev, means allowing neo-Nazis to promote racism and anti-Semitism all over the platform that Musk now owns, X, formerly Twitter. And then, Rev, 5 months after that madness, James Tallarico is Rogan's guest in July of last year. Tallarico voted for MVP Harris in 2024, the whole year that Rogan was trashing that same woman of black excellence, trashing her as uncharismatic and, quote, the most disliked vice president of all time. That's a quote from both Trump and Joe Rogan. They said the same thing about Kamala Harris. Did James Tallarico confront Joe Rogan about his friendship with Elon Musk and his co-signing Musk's trashing of MVP Harris? Of course not. Instead, Tallarico repeatedly praises Rogan and calls his platform an exemplary model, Rev, for good faith dialogue. So in closing, if anyone is hearing me in Texas and they're voting in the primary, if you choose James Tallarico, please watch his interview with Joe Rogan to understand what you're getting into here.
And Tallarico,
And
thank you for your call. I got a lot of callers. Tallarico, by the way, is the one running against Jasmine Crockett in Texas. Let me go. And by the way, that same guy just read says, where's he at? Why? I'm trying to pull it up. The guy is one of the same callers, Reverend Al. Why do they have the same callers? First of all, if you want to call, and I'll put you on the air. I don't know one caller. A lot of callers do call a lot, and some don't. But all you got to do is call because you have nothing to say. You want to hide behind sending something on a message board. Call. We got lines open. And in fact, we rate about, I don't know, 30, 40,000 people a day or the rally on Saturdays. This past Saturday did about 30,000 people. My television show does 600,000, 700,000 a night. So we ain't got the same people. Just some of them just don't call. But you call. Don't worry about everybody. You call. And ask anything you want. Okay? I'm happy that I can answer questions that people throw out there so that people will can't run around saying, yeah, I'll call up there and ask Reverend Al about did he have friends down with Epstein, and I hope his name will come up on the list. He wouldn't answer. Well, I just answered you. And I think that it is my view to take things head on if I feel like they're worth taking on. Now, some folks just, talk about Martians and Middle Air. I don't know nothing about that, so I don't go there. Let's go to Deshaun in Washington, D.C. Deshaun?
Yeah, hello. So I already sent some money to Tallarico's campaign, and next week I'm going to send them some more money because I think Jasmine Crockett is average at that. Hello?
I said, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You said that you sent Tallarico some money last week, and now you're going to send him some more. Okay.
Yeah, I think Jasmine Crockett is average at best.
Mm-hmm.
I give her a solid 4. And I think that's one of the issues that's wrong with our community. We have so many simps that want to be led by these fat, sassy black women. This all goes back to slavery times. The manosphere is undefeated. The gynocracy is getting ready to die.
The manosphere, how do you define the manosphere?
Well, the Joe Rogans, the Kevin Samuels, the Minister Japs of the world, Tommy Sotomayor.
They're undefeated.
These people getting millions of viewers.
They're undefeated?
Yeah, the manosphere is undefeated.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow. I thought Trump lost in 2020. And it got him defeated, too. And it's going to get him defeated in the midterm election. Don't forget, Trump got beat in 2020, and the manosphere tried all of that and went up there and disrupted the Capitol and all of that kind of stuff. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. He lost one, and the manosphere was with him then, so he can be defeated. Don't worry about that.
And if I could just say one last thing.
And send whoever you want money, no problem.
These congressional black caucus people, a lot of them are not FBAs. Like the main lady, she's a Jamaican lady.
They're not what?
I think we need to.
They're not what?
I said she's not.
They're not FBAs.
Not FBA. She's Jamaican. And I don't ever hear her talk about reparations, but I hear her talk about immigration.
Well, you're talking about the chair. You're talking about the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus.
She's from Jamaica.
Yeah, her mother's from Jamaica. Her name is Yvette Clarke.
Then
wait a minute. What? I grew up in Brooklyn. I known her all her life. Her mother was the councilwoman, Una Clarke, and they helped lead the fight for reparations. So check your facts. That's not true.
She's not one of us, Al. And I'm not fighting for these other groups.
Well,
I
don't think anybody asked you to fight. She did stand up for reparations, and she is from Jamaica, where Marcus Garvey was from. And there was there's no question. There was no question that they stood up for reparations.
No, they did not, Al, and you know it. So stop fronting. So
now here you start. Wait a minute. You call in defending Tarico. Now you turn it to wanting reparations for blacks. I think you need to rest. What side are you on? Trump won't be defeated. So you for Trump, Tarico, and you're going to define who's with us. Who are you with? You're confused. Are you with Trump? Are you with the manosphere? Or are you with blacks and reparations? Put your hand on radio. Let me pray for you while we do the commercial. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Put your hand on radio.
Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising. But one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We gonna organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
in London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We've got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
Tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. Tradition to be standing with nurses and standing with those that should be getting wages for saving the lives and caring for people that the private hospitals and other hospitals seem not to care about. How can you spend King Day and turn your back on people that are working and not insured right and not given the right wages and not given the right respect when they're taking care of our afflicted, our ill, our infirm. In the name of Martin Luther King, I join the nurses in demanding justice for the nurses. This is not only a labor issue, this is a civil rights issue. This is a human rights issue. It's an issue that black and white, Latino, Asian, all can stand together. Because those that want to make profits out of people's illness, rather than pay for those that care for them, that stand for them, that are there when their families are not there in some cases.
Your host,
so we had to come.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back.
Came to the House of Justice. But
you can call it 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. It's Exhale Friday. And, of course, you can also go on the message board. Bruce Turner is on the message board saying Friday the 13th and the freaks are out. Well, I wouldn't call Deshaun a freak, but I understand what you're saying. Jamal C is saying, Reverend Al, pray for that caller. I am praying for him. You know, they like to rattle me. I've been up against people 50 years, from presidential debates to people on the corner in the street. I'm not going to get rattled by a bunch of stuff, but just have your facts together. Let me again remind you, Saturday and Sunday, tomorrow and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you tune in to MS Now. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Tomorrow I'm going to have leading congressmen that they really, really been after him because he stood up on ICE and immigration, as well as he has stood up on the issue that really got under Donald Trump's skin. Congressman Eric Swalwell will be on the show. I'm also going to have on the governor of Kentucky, who I dealt with during the Breonna Taylor fight, who's talking about running for president. He's going to talk about the Governors Association, says all members are now invited to this White House meeting with Trump. I'm going to talk about that and how they tried to exclude the black member, Wes Moore from Maryland, and Polis, who's LGBTQ. We have on Keith Ellison, and to find out, is it true that they have withdrawn all the troops from Minnesota? And also, is the federal government now correlating with the state on investigating these ICE officers that killed 2 people there in Minneapolis? All that's going to be tomorrow, Saturday. And then on Sunday, I've got another great lineup. Benny Thompson, a congressman from Mississippi, who's a ranking member of Homeland Security, is going to explain what they're holding out in terms of the spending bill until they get Homeland Security right. And Congresswoman Fernandez, who chairs the Democratic Woman Caucus. I'm going to have on Maggie Goodlander, who is one of the 6 Congress people and senators who was a veteran that did the video saying, don't allow people to make you, if you're in the military, you're not obligated to perform illegal orders. And of course, they tried to come after them. Haig said the Department of Defense Secretary tried to have Senator Kelly and Maggie Goodlander, who will be on the show, and others penalized for telling people don't obey illegal orders. So I'm going to have a real 2 nights over this president's weekend, holiday weekend. You don't want to miss either night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm really looking forward to both shows. And I know a lot of you are taking 3-day holiday don't take a holiday from information. You know, you can enjoy yourself, but take an hour or two every day, find out what's going on. Make part of that hour or two Politics Nation on tomorrow and on Sunday on MS Now. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally. We'll be there in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Black History Month, we are at the at the Mother AME Zion Church. Mother AME Zion Church, a historic church where Frederick Douglass preached and where Sojourner Truth came through and where we dealt and definitely went forward with the question of, I'll frame it this way, with the question of our culture. Paul Robeson was a member of that church. Well, we have in our Saturday Action Rallies there all of this month as we transition into our new headquarters. And we are asking you meet me in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, now temporarily at Mother AME Zion, 137th Street between Lenox and 7th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And you can also watch it on YouTube/NAN or on the nationalactionnetwork.net site. And I'm checking numbers. They're popping high. You better register now. National Action Network Convention. We're getting close to the top of where I'm going to have to cut it off. And the reason I'm cutting it off is I have to leave a certain a few hundred rooms for chapters, for our guests coming in from Africa and Europe, and from some of the students we're signing up as they go on this HBCU tour that I'm also participating in some cities. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can, of course, go to the toll-free number and call in 877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. All right, let's go right back to the phone. Let me go to Rick in Manhattan. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Rick in Germany.
Rick in Germany.
Brother Sharpton.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
Let me say that I failed to tell you a couple of days ago when I told you that my mother-in-law passed. I told you that she was not a vegetarian, but what I did not mention was that she was a hotel-class cook in her youth, and she came back home to her village to open a small restaurant and bar. And if it had not been for this woman, I'd be dead at one of the D.C. shelters 20, 30 years ago. I also want to say I stepped behind that sister that called you and talked about brothers and sisters doing their homework when choosing a mate, the health aspects. It is no small deal to take care of a sick spouse, and I'm offering my wife a divorce because what I have in the way of illness is catastrophic, and I don't want to break her and her property and her praxis and her relations. Health is wealth, and it pays to take care of yourself. Thank God for that sister, and I'm done, brother man.
All right, thank you for your call. Now, I believe that health is wealth, and democracy.fund, Brian is saying on the message board, condolences, Rick, in Germany for the loss of your precious mother-in-law. And, I work out every morning. I was on Morning Joe this morning from 6 to 8 Eastern time in studio. So I usually get up around 4 and go to the gym around 5:15. I got up at 3 and went to the gym 4:15, and so I could be at the studio on time. So I don't even say, well, I ain't working out today because I got to do the show early, not later. I believe in you must protect your health. And I'm going to do that. Now, I'm not telling everybody you get whatever exercise regimen you want, but I'm going to take care of mine. Don Lemon just pled not guilty in court today. Akeem Smith is sending me. I just saw it flash across the screen here. He's pled not guilty in court in Minnesota today. Let's take a break. Coming right back. More Exhale right after this. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited about being there as it prepares us to move on to our new headquarters. Let's go back and stand on the rock that our people stood on for decades. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI, we supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational National Action Network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the Black church, how we deal with Black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, they welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, and we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C. We do 2 cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York paper for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attendance convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked in the silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks. 26. I need you. We need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act like he has a mandate. No, he has a mission, Project 2025. We have the mandate that we can't let them undo what has been done. And we must even go further for the empowerment of all people. Happy New Year, and be focused. It is really a intersection of both emotions because when I was 11 or 12 years old, so I watched the news a lot and I became enthralled with the image of Adam Clayton Powell. I was around 11 and I convinced my mother to let me come up to this church to see Adam Clayton Powell. And in those days, people in Brooklyn used to say it's dangerous to go to Harlem. And folk in Harlem used to say it's dangerous to go to Brooklyn. Now, to 135th Street, and I sat right back there. And Adam Clayton Powell walked down this platform. And I remember after the church, in those days, Johnson, the pastor's study was right inside with the plexiglass. And I knocked on the door and I told the secretary I wanted to meet Reverend Powell. She looked down this little 11-year-old boy. She said, really? She said, who did I say? I said, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Black Army dignity. means we're gonna walk side by side with you or through you. We're gonna be with dignity and integrity. We don't want any more than you have, and we're not gonna.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Raj.
Hello, Rev. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Okay, thanks. Now I heard that one caller, he just confirmed what I had already really knew, suspected and knew, but the one that was talking about the manosphere and Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was like for a long time, you know, he was like the instilled in certain ways, like the podcast version of Fox News. He put out a lot of propaganda, promoted a lot of just right wing, you know, misinformation, and pumped Trump up, you know. And for those who wanted to hear, of course, the racists and white nationalists and stuff, they were going to go for it. But a lot of the black guys that didn't know better, and some of the Hispanics and stuff, they thought that, you know, they were already low information. So they were easily, like fish, you know, to bait. They were easily baited by you know, information that was emotionally charged in a, you know, political views and stuff, because that tells me that they were not into politics. See, a lot of those people that went for Trump, they were not into politics before Trump, not in an informational way. So it was easy to just throw stuff out there, and they jumped on it, and then you hook terms like manosphere to it, you know. And the black guys, there was already a gender war going on with black guys and women. So all the black guys who didn't know better, they just jumped. They jumped at a few words that they heard, that tantalized their ears with emotions, and they were on board with Joe Rogan. And if you're on board with Joe Rogan, you're definitely not for reparations. And if you're on board with Tallarico, I don't know if he's for reparations, but I know that Jasmine Crockett would fight more for your community than Tallarico. And these donors, lobbyists, they put out these negative campaign ads, all this money behind Tallarico against Jasmine Crockett, and that tells me right there that they don't really they're not, if they might be on the left, but I don't know how progressive they are if you're going against Jasmine Crockett, who is who, you know, if the right wing is calling her, you know, far left and consider her more of a threat than Tallarico, I'd rather go with her, because you know, I don't want some, you know, lukewarm moderate that's gonna, you know, go half stepping, you know, in a time like this, and not address all the needs that need to be met, especially in a state like Texas, the heart of the Confederacy. So a lot of those black guys, the 20% that voted for Trump, they're that guy that called you. That's them.
And they're diminishing because if you remember, and thank you for your call, Raj. I know you do remember, because you call every once in a while, that they said that Trump was going to help black business and that they didn't want social programs. They wanted black business. First thing Trump did was cut DEI, which cut out black businesses getting contracts for major businesses. What do you mean by that, Sharpton? Well, I have people that work with National Action Network that's in asset management, financial services, supply materials. All their contracts was canceled with major corporations because it was DEI. First thing Trump did for these black men that sitting around drinking cognac, smoking cigars in these Trump conversations. So where are the businesses? There are no federal contracts given to black-owned companies because he ended DEI, and they're not allowed to go out and say we want to make sure we include blacks. So you're absolutely right. The proof is in the pudding. And that's why they can holler, scream, do whatever they want to do. I've heard that for years. I'm still here and going to be here because the truth is going to come out anyway. With the expression, there's a lie or get to the corner before the truth gets the shoes on. Yeah, but when the shoes get on the truth will catch up and pass you. I ain't worried about it. I ain't got old enough where I don't get excited. I ain't worried about it. Let's go to Geralda in Brooklyn, New York. Geralda.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to say to that man that called about Palladino, his name is called, and reparations. The world want reparations, so it doesn't matter if you're once you're black and you're from any part of the world, they're all screaming for reparations. So I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yeah, well, I think he makes his point. You know, the other thing, Geralda, that and thank you for your call. The other thing is that he talked about how the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Yvette Clarke, who I've known all her life, and her mother was one of the city council members who proposed reparations, and said, "Oh, but they're from Jamaica." First of all, Marcus Garvey's from Jamaica. Some of our great Pan-Africanists, Dr. John Henry Clark and all of them were from the Caribbean. They deserve reparations. So, yes, the United States, we deserve ours, but when Congressman John Conyers, the problem y'all got when y'all call my show is that I study history or either lived it. If it was last 60-some years I was involved, before that I studied it. I lived this every day, all day. The person that introduced the reparations bill to Congress was Congressman John Conyers. When he passed, the one that picked it up was Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who had Caribbean roots. So what are you talking about? That's just ignorant and ill-informed. That's who Sheila Jackson Lee was. That's who Marcus Garvey was. So, I mean, that's who Arabella Fonte was. I mean, so now we going to separate ourselves based on where the slave ships sailed and dropped us off? Some ships went to the Caribbean, some ships went to North America, some went down south, some went to Wall Street, and now we going to argue about where the ships that kidnapped us went? Are you serious? No, you're not serious. Let's take a break. Think about it. Drink some hot tea. I hope you put your hand, I really am praying for him, because something wrong there. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announcing today, I wish Obama had announced here. Because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month people's killed, to let them know they killed the dream.
Because I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dream.
Good morning, everybody. Governor Westmore. And as a former honoree of the National Action Network's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast, I want to begin by recognizing the leadership of this great organization. My guy, Reverend Sharpton, you're one of a kind. You've dedicated your life to safeguarding and advancing Dr. King's legacy, and I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine. I also want to thank Ebony Riley and her team, and Andrea Waters King and the entire King family. Your work continues to shape national conversations about equity and justice, and you inspire so many to pursue their own path in public service. And finally, I am thrilled to congratulate today's Visionary Award recipient, my guy, Mayor Brandon Scott. Mr. Mayor, you deserve this honor. Your leadership is turning your vision for Baltimore into a Baltimore where we can all thrive, helping to drive down historic lows in crime. A Baltimore that has one of the fastest growing economies in the country. You've been an incredible partner in this work, my man. A strong leader for the city, and most importantly, a devoted friend and father. So congratulations, Brandon. And thank you to everyone here who is working to strengthen our communities, to broaden opportunities, and most importantly, to serve the people.
Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to, they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating Good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they gonna investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're gonna investigate her. And you wonder why we need movements. You wonder why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this midterm election. Well, Reverend, I get calls on my radio show every day. Well, I don't see where voting changed something. All right, let me tell you where if they lose the Congress this year, where it changes. The Speaker, keeping it real, I'm your host. Who grew up right here in Name. As he said, Reverend Al Sharpton is XL Friday, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to John in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. John.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
Just want to tell you, man, thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it. Love you. And love the National Action Network. Been a member for about 10 years.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and let me exhale because I want, before I get to Pam Bondi, that guy that called you, that you called him confused.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's back. He wants to talk about reparations, but he's supporting Trump, as you pointed out, that's killing DEI and killing contracts for black professionals and other people, which is ridiculous. And so when I was at the rally on Wall Street with you, and, I called you about that Circle Line cruise
Yeah,
ship
I remember that.
yeah. And one of the signs I saw, somebody was carrying, it said, imagine being afraid of diversity, but not being afraid of a dictatorship. And I thought that was profound.
I think it is profound.
That's
Wow.
profound.
Yeah.
You're afraid of diversity, but you rather have somebody put their foot on your neck than live in. And that's for that guy that called you and Meach that calls you. Don't let him fool you. Calls you here from Milwaukee. He's the one that called our local radio show and said that he'd rather be a white man's slave than see Kamala Harris in office.
Really? Wow.
Yes, yeah, he said that.
Wow.
And I want to touch on Mark Kelly. I mean, the Republicans are basically telling us they will break the law, they will do illegal things, and you better shut up, because they're going to take him and try to demote him, take him to court for telling.
Rev, I got Reverend Williams too.
Well, that's the law of the land.
Right.
You're not supposed to follow illegal orders. And that Pam Bondi, she's a disgrace. I mean, when Jasmine Crockett got through with her, man, I watched that. Man, all she could do, Jasmine Crockett pointed out how she's letting Trump be corrupt, got rid of the regulation department within the Justice Department that handled cryptocurrency. She eliminated that, and Trump is making hundreds of millions of dollars off of cryptocurrency. She talked about how she hired this one guy that was one of the insurrectionists, gave him a high position in her administration. And when she got through with her, she talked about how she wouldn't look at the ladies that were there that were victims of the abuse, how she wasn't prosecuting them, but she's going after everybody else. And then the funniest thing to me is all Pam Bondi could do was hold up about 5 pictures of convicted felons and tell Jasmine Crockett, well, they live in your state. I mean, that was...
Yeah, what is that supposed to mean?
That was so ridiculous. That's all she could do. She looked like a little whipped dog, sitting there. And you got this guy, he's a convicted felon, and he's a convicted felon, and they all live in your state. And I'm like, Trump just pardoned the guy from Honduras that brought tons of cocaine into the country.
That's right.
The
head of state, Hernandez. Yes, he did. And he pardoned all of the people that desecrated the building they were sitting in having the hearing on January 6th. He pardoned all of them.
Yeah. And half of the Republicans that were sitting in the hearing were fearing for their lives when all of that was going on.
That's right.
And all of a sudden did an about turn.
Yep.
Did an about turn.
Yep.
So, and I'm glad these Epstein files are coming out. They got to keep the pressure on. I sent an email to my senator here in Wisconsin and told her, Tammy Baldwin, hey, y'all keep the heat on those Epstein files. Don't let it go away.
Don't let up. That's right.
Yeah, and thank you for taking my call.
All right,
now.
John.
And
Thank you for your
weekend.
call. You as well. Let me, we're joined as we are every Friday for our last hour of the show for the week. He is the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church of Detroit, Michigan, head of national expansion and Michigan State chair of the National Action Network, the Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend?
All is well, and Rev, it's always good to be with you. I was thinking as National Action Network is going across the country today, they was in Shaw University for a historically black college tour. Yourself have visited many schools, and staff have been to many schools. The importance of making sure that the generations behind us understand what fight we are in is paramount. You know, I hear a lot of folks, and there's a whole lot of folks involved in this movement that are on the retired side, a whole lot of folks on the baby boomer side, a whole lot of folks on the older side. But so many times I find that young folks flash in and flash out, and the importance of a sustained movement is what we must continue to promote. And I'm so happy that we're going across the country, National Action Network, visiting HBCUs all over the place, and being a part of a sustained movement as we get ready to head into our National Action Network National Convention in April. And so I want to invite folks who are listening, folks from all over the country, to be a part of this sustained movement. That means we're not here issue by issue. We're not here surrounded by somebody's ego. We're not here for somebody's camera attention. We are here to sustain a movement that has been handed down to us from Dr. King, on down through Jesse Jackson, on down through Al Sharpton, on down, on down, on down. So do that by joining us by going to nationalactionnetwork.net, become a member. But join us at the National Convention. Register and be a part of this sustained movement to keep change coming, because we got so many. We got Donald Trump this year, and we'll have him maybe even next year. But we got to sustain a movement for Donald Trump 2.0 that may be coming 5 and 10 years from now.
Let me tell you, when we talk about the convention, we are in 2026.
That's right.
Let's think strategically now. The midterm elections will be this November to decide whether the Democrats take the majority of the House of Representatives. If they do, Hakeem Jeffries becomes the Speaker. If he's the Speaker, they will decide then who is called before the committees, because they will chair the committees. And they can stop whatever legislation Trump puts through. Now, that means Trump, in effect, his presidency would end there because he couldn't get nothing through. And the Congress can subpoena all of his cabinet members, family members, business members, because they will chair the Judiciary Committee. That's how important this convention is to mobilize toward the November elections. Not endorsing candidates, but making the candidates come and lay out a program. I have not announced all who's coming, but I can tell you most of the candidates thinking about running for president is already confirmed, because they cannot win without us. But we got to make sure that our victory's in there. And we've done, as you know, Reverend, we had it from 2000 on, we always made the presidential candidates, the major congressional candidates, come before us and either speak or have a fireside chat with me asking the questions. This is serious. You talk all you want about Trump. The only way to stop him is to stop these midterm elections and flip the Congress. And that's why April 8th through the 11th is important. I don't care if you however you got to get to New York. You get here, you ain't got to pay to come in none of the sessions. But this is as serious as it gets. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Williams. Be right back. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization
in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI. We supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational National Action Network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, it welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award, and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this bill. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, and we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C. We do 2 cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York, April for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attended convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked into silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks in 26. I need you, we need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act like he has a mandate. No, he has a mission, Project 2025. We have the mandate that we can't let them undo what has been done. And we must even go
go further for the empowerment of all people. Happy New Year, and be focused. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited about being there as it prepares us to move on to our new headquarters. Let's go back and stand on the rock that our people stood on for decades.
Welcome back, everybody. My next guest is a TV and radio personality. He's an activist and the author of a new book, The Rejected Stone, Al Sharpton and the Path to American Leadership. Please welcome my friend, Reverend Al Sharpton. Ram, how you doing?
Good.
Look at you. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are
Boy,
you?
you getting sharper and sharper.
No, I'm trying to be like you.
Man, I'm trying to get my weight together, man. You look good. How much weight have you lost?
All told, about 120 pounds.
That's been great, man. I'm gonna get into this book, but I gotta tell you, man, I really do appreciate your stand for the small man. I think it's the common man that has really connected with you over the years, and the common cause, I think, has been very, very effective.
Well, thank you. That's what my ministry is all about.
Yeah.
You have to know in life what your passion is, what gets you up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my passion. And I once you lose it, you should get out of it and do something else.
Right. Now, it's been 10 years since your last book. Why is this one really important to you at this point?
You know, people stop me all over wherever I'm traveling and say to me, you've changed so much. You've gone radio now, TV every day. Your National Action Network has gotten formidable. You go to the White House, and you lost a lot of weight. How did you transform yourself? I want to go to the next level in my life. And I thought about it. I said, rather than just talk politics, I want to write a book about how anybody, any race, any religion, can transform themselves and go to the next step in life and not be afraid to do it, because you can do it. And
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your
Just
host.
like me, Reverend Al Sharpton has.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host. James Mitchell writes on our message board, that caller might want to read Black Skin, White Masks by Dr. Frantz Fanon. And Frantz Fanon is from Martinique, by the way. And James, it's interesting you brought that book up. I read that book when I was in high school. 50 years ago. Frantz Fanon was, no, not college, high school. Frantz Fanon was one of the guys that when we were in school in the early 70s, 71, 72, we all would walk around with Frantz Fanon books. That was one of the major tenets of our thinking. Frantz Fanon, we'd read some Du Bois. None of this we were getting in school now. This is when the Black Studies movement was starting. So we would all tell each other, I was head of the African American Club in my high school from my sophomore year all the way to my senior year. And we would have our meetings and give out reading lists. And Fanon was always at the top of the list. I'm so glad you text that in. And he was from Martinique, by the way. And nobody is a trained psychiatrist, and he wrote The Psychology of Racism and Colonialism. That people ought to dig that up. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can get some of his books and have them at the convention. Let's go to Miss Richardson, my friend in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Miss Richardson.
Yes. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I want to put this in its proper context so you'll understand me today, where we don't, have a mismeeting of the minds. I want us to agree because I want to I'm clear in my thinking today about some things. You pointed out earlier that the black contractors or black people that, are out there like the black contractors, are they losing their contracts, you're saying, or do they gain? Or have they got
No, they're
gain?
losing them. With DEI being ended by Trump, a lot of the major corporations are saying we can no longer renew contracts that we gave with black businesses because we agreed with groups like National Action Network that 15% of our contracts were going to blacks and 10% going to this one and that. And now we can't do that, so we cannot renew the contracts. They're losing the contract. I'm not talking about they may. I'm talking about those that have come to us and said I'm talking about multi-million-dollar contracts that we help negotiate for them.
Yeah, multi-million-dollar. Yeah, because Rev, what's so scary? And hello to Reverend Williams. What's so scary, Rev, is this that it looks like it's going to be a long where there's something about in the air. I feel that it's going to be like Mother Nature is even going to work for this monster. And what he's already done, look at what he's done already and was able to do with innocent citizens of all colors, even white people. And what he's done, there's no repercussion or something from what he's doing. It's just like these three offices of the federal government, the three branches, they're quiet. I don't understand why they don't attack him and tell him he has 34 felonies. Okay, that should have been, even your callers would say that they'd agree that the 34 felonies alone, what he has on his record, it's like Teflon's pan. It bounces off and it doesn't hurt him. And then all these other criminal charges against him, he's a criminal. And he's very wise because he calls all these other black countries a-hole countries, a-hole folks. But yet he doesn't call those other cultures that let him call the Jewish people that they would have him out of there impeached if it was not Netanyahu who had heard him say that the Jewish community are a-hole country, or even. But you see another thing there too. He has Marco Rubio, who actually is Spanish, right? Isn't he Spanish?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the point. Let me say this is that it is not that long. He does not have that long that you don't see where it's coming. We already almost in March. We're at the halfway point of February. There's an election in November. If his party loses that election, the legislature has the power to check him. The reason he's not checked out is they won the legislature, won the House, Senate, and they stacked the Supreme Court. You will start getting balance if it switches in November. We're talking 6-7 months if we go to work. They want us to think there's nothing we could do. There's plenty we could do. And he can be beat. We beat him in 2020, and he can't even be on the ballot again. So this is not an invincible fight. We got to get up off our behinds and go to work. That's all, like we did in 2020. Donald Trump is a bluffer. He tried to bluff in 20, and Biden beat him. Reason he keeps talking about Biden, he'll never get over Biden beat him. He'll blame Biden if it's a snowstorm. He was beaten.
And Rev, he also is very, how red turnips face he gets about Obama. Obama sat with his butt
Right.
at the senior George Bush's funeral, remember? And he said the other presidents didn't want to sit near him.
Right.
Bush Jr., they all resented him. And so we have to know they're good white people that, we know they've done things too, but what I'm saying is that they don't agree with him. And so Trump is by himself, and I'm hoping that someone don't take his life. But Reverend, I'll call you next week, and hello
All
to
right, have a
Reverend
good
Williams.
week. Happy Valentine's Day. Let me go to...
You too, Dick.
Let me go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Still Bill, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Williams.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, Reverend Williams.
Good afternoon.
Happy Valentine's Day. I want to send a shout out to Lincoln Ware and the Buzz team of Terrence Howard and, the staff. I want to say that Donald Trump pretty much is the soundtrack of our lives, and we don't really want him in our lives. This November, yes, I will vote. I voted the last time, and I agree with you, Reverend. And he is very, very sore of the fact that Biden beat him in 2020. He ran around with his head cut off like a chicken, and he just didn't know what to do with himself. But you know what? This Valentine's Day, me and my sweetness, we are going to check out a movie and dinner. And after dinner, we are going to have a date. We are going to set up a dartboard with Donald Trump's face in it and just throw at it all night long till we hit the bullseye. And I tell you, Reverend Al Sharpton, you are definitely Black History Month soundtrack. Reverend Williams, you do a stellar job at your church, from what I hear. I know you got a bunch of callers, but I'm just going to cut it short. And to Dominique Sharpton, I am still Bill, and I will keep it real.
All right, I will
Keep it
tell her. I'm
real.
sure she's listening. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Williams. Be right back.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family
was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Good to see you again, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have the slave.
Yeah, that's when, exactly. That was, exactly.
Yeah. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helped push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to our 20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But now, as we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Mrs. Coretta Scott King, who never has gotten the credit she deserves in being the force behind this movement. Congressman John Conyers, Stevie Wonder, and others. And Ronald Reagan, who had called Martin Luther King a communist, ended up being the president that had to sign the bill for Martin Luther King's federal holiday. The reason why we know struggle works is this holiday is a result of struggle, signed by a president that never thought it would be. Let us remember now, as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president, but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. But we gather this morning because everything Dr. King stood for is at risk. As we speak, we're waiting to see what the Supreme Court will do with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, one of the major achievements of the King movement. As we speak this morning, this sitting president has declared war on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is the core of the Civil Rights Act of '64. We are under attack, and we should not be taking this as a day off. This is a day on to fight to keep what was maintained. To see, I remember 6 years ago, Martin III and I were in Minneapolis leading the marches around George Floyd. I did the eulogy at his funeral. 6 years later, we see a white female, unarmed, killed in Minneapolis. We see people being racially profiled. We see that there are those that would want this to be the last federal holiday named after King. Don't you be deceived. This sitting president and his cohorts would want to end Martin Luther King Day. But just like we will not let them end this day, we will not let them end voting rights and Civil Rights Act and DEI. It's not enough to remember and honor the dreamer and let them kill the dream. And that's why National Action Network has every year started in Washington, D.C. with this breakfast. And then we go to New York with our public policy forum. And every year, we try to say, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Charles Williams is our co-host. Don't forget, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live on MS Now, 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And I'm telling you, we're going to deal with a lot this weekend. Tomorrow, I'm going to have on Congressman Eric Swalwell, and he's been the one leading the fight in Congress about the deportations. He's also been the one dealing with the shutdown and the ICE negotiations, been under threat. And I'm going to have him on. I'm going to have on Governor Andy Beshear of Louisville, Kentucky. He's the governor of Kentucky. We got to know him during the whole fight around Breonna Taylor. Many say he's going to run for president. He'll be on tomorrow night talking about the Democratic Governors Association and how they're standing up for Trump not wanting to invite Governor Westmore, the only black governor, to the White House for the traditional nonpartisan. This is not about Trump. It's a nonpartisan governors meeting and dinner at the White House. And Polis, who's LGBTQ. Then we're going to have Keith Ellison on, the state attorney general himself of Minnesota, explaining to us where it is the feds now cooperating with their investigations on these two murders by the ICE agents, and or is this announcement by Holman that they're going to pull out, that the surge is over. Is that real, or is that just them talking? That's among the guests tomorrow, Saturday, and then Sunday we'll have Congressman Benny Thompson on, who's the ranking member of Homeland Security, talk about the whole ICE and Homeland Security, as well as I'm going to have on Congresswoman Teresa Fernandez, the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus. And then, as you know, they tried to indict 6 members of Congress and Senate for doing a video, all veterans now, all of them veterans, saying that you should not obey illegal orders. Do not listen to illegal orders. And one of them are going to be on with me, Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander. She and Mark Kelly and others stood up, and they tried to prosecute them. She's going to be on my show tomorrow with others. So you don't want to, on Sunday. So you don't want to miss either night. I'm telling you in advance, the people we're going to have on, and you need to be part of it. That's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. In the morning, we're second week at the historic Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem for our Saturday Action Rally. The House of Justice moving in there for February, maybe even the first part of March, till we move to our new headquarters. Mother AME Zion, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Mother AME Zion is 140 West 137th Street in Harlem, between Lenox and 7th. Last week it was 0 degrees, and a couple hundred people came out. I know you are fair weather activists will be with us tomorrow, but I want some of the others too. And again, as Reverend Williams and I said, sign up for this convention, because we're going to have to close down registration shortly. The numbers are higher than usual. And I guess people do understand this is midterm election year. This is the year to deal with a lot. And I haven't even announced the roster of people that are coming during the workshops and all. But believe me, all of them free. And you are going to want to hear and be a part of this experience. So all you have to do is go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Rem Williams, what's going on at Detroit National Action Network tomorrow?
You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, we will have with us Councilwoman Mary Waters, who always gives us an update on everything that's going on in the city in regards to what we should be looking forward to and the community development, policy, all of that. You want to make sure that you're there for, along with Sam Riddle's political report. Want to make sure you come tomorrow, because if you plan on leaving with the Michigan and Ohio and Midwest region to the National Action Network National Convention, you can also see Rosa Parks to sign up and get ready to meet us at the National Action Network Convention. We got the flight and we got a bus, and so we want to make sure you decide which one you're going to get, jump on the flight or jump on the bus with Michigan or Midwest National Action Network. And
Rosa Parks is activist extraordinaire, and while most Negroes in Michigan sit around and fiddle, I tune in to Sam Riddle. Let us go. Tell them, give me credit for that one. I will have that copyright. Let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, to the irrepressible, invincible president of the Greater Cleveland, Ohio chapter of National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy.
Much respect to you, Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton and Reverend Dr. Charles Williams II. Let's talk about our middle name for a second. Action, National Action Network.
That's right.
We took action. You know, politics are local. On November the 17th, petitions to run for precinct committee in the ward you live in came out. I live in a ward with 19.
Let's concentrate on
Jackie, and I live in a ward with 19 precincts. The petition required 5 signatures. It was raining here, cold here, snowing. But rain, sleet, hail, or snow, we live in Ohio. The petitions were due on February the 1st to be on the ballot for May the 5th. All 19 individuals in my ward are on the ballot, and only 3 of them have opposition. Altogether, in this county, we have over 65 people that have gone through our precinct training on the ballot. So, radio listeners, all roads lead to New York for our National Action Network convention, and I am glad to have our Reverend Dr. Bishop E.T. Cabinet. He will be there. Come on, Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams. Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you.
Way back in the year of 1874, the term no class originated. Classless meant no state of morality, morals, no rectitude, no guardrails for power, decency, dignity, or decorum. No limit for profane language, no limits for disrespect, and characterized by disingenuous lies and outright hypocritical behavior. One thing you can say about Dr. Al Sharpton and Dr. Charles Williams, they are prelates of class. Easy to say then that the presidency of the United States of America is being occupied by a lower-than-low, avid, racist, bigoted, Nazi-loving, unprincipled, convicted felon, a white supremacist who is determined to be a king or dictator. Former First Lady Michelle Obama says that when the dogmatists go low, we the purists go high. But the present obscene, vulgar, classless president has gone lower than low and must be categorized as a power-drunk demon that has hit rock bottom. How dare you call these highly educated, intelligent, intellectual, these dignified, decent human beings apes and monkeys? Only an immoral, degenerate, despicable, corrupt human being would dare go there. But this man goes there because he is a person of no class whatsoever. A liar is a liar always and forever. He is on his way to become the top pathological liar of all time. 35,000 lies and still going. U.S. Senator Tim Scott of the state of South Carolina called this tweet the most racist that has ever come from the White House.
Yeah.
And the country, he said, is owed an apology. Did he get an answer? Heaven knows. Anybody who doesn't know by now that Donald Trump is a redneck, avid racist is blind, deaf, and dumb. Why? Because Trump is an atrocious, bigoted white supremacist who hates blacks and despises all people of color. He wants the world to think that he is superior and for his followers to understand that I apologize for nothing. I am what I am, and I have no aim to change. I am a committed white nationalist nation that has no room for anybody else than us. I am a poster child for discriminating against housing for people of color. I'm determined to eliminate and obliterate all diversity, equity, and inclusion. I love the uneducated and plan to end the Department of Education. I am for eradicating constitutional restriction on my becoming president forever. I want to make this country not right again, but absolutely lily white again. Constitutional government is anathema to my goals and my aims. November 2026 is the litmus test for the life of this democracy and for getting rid of this convicted felonious insurrectionist. Lottie, Dottie, everybody of goodwill and righteousness must rise up to rid this nation and the world of this classless convicted felon. Let us begin right now. The sooner the better. No action and silence will be the fate of our precious democracy. Vote, vote, vote.
All right. Bishop E.T. Cavanis, let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.